Big drama video, big drama video, big drama video. Right, everyone, hope you're doing great. This story of MrBeast and, Dogpack and the dirty stuff going on inside, I feel like now it's coming around to close. Number one, on the side of Dogpack, he's ruined most of his credibility or respect by, if you know anything about him, the Rosanna video, putting CP right there in the video, showing to everyone, showing to 1 million people that watched the video. So on his side, I really feel like, the chance of him being listened to by hundreds of people online is gonna go down slowly. Because by now they don't really care about him, or they see him as a piece of shit he really is. But now as well, the second part, the response from MrBeast to the whole drama is finally out, and it's exactly, I want to say it's underwhelming, more so in the sense that it's not a video of him crying like in the bedroom, being like, guys, there was some bad stuff and I'm so sorry. No, he made a response in a document form, or more so, his lawyer, Alex Spiro, the lawyer that was hired by the company, he put a response to the investigation taken by the investigators, and they talked about, what they found and how they're gonna, treat it, moving forward in the future. I guess, it would be underwhelming, because, you want a huge video. I mean, initially people were promised a video by the idea of making a video came from Ludwig, who talked to Jimmy. And he said that after Dogpack made a part 3 of the videos, he'd make a response in a video format. But now, I think he realized the best way to go around is by making a response from investigators. Because if he just talked about it directly, people would be like, I don't really believe you. So, this way would be, the best way to go around it. I mean, it wasn't really, because if you check the replies down here in the post, it wasn't handled that well. But anyways, I'll get you that in a second. So instead of making an individual post, he went back to the actual tweet back in July, saying how he was gonna start an investigation, and then he replied under it. I guess that, the best way to give you a concise timeline would be by replying to the first tweet. But again, I feel like the best way to get the most eyes on it would be to make a standalone tweet that's pinned. Is it pinned? I don't see anything just yet, but no, it's just a reply. But again, within a day, everyone's gonna make a video about it, including me. I'm gonna read through it because it's a very short document, only 2 pages. And this first paragraph was a short introduction to the whole story. And the first thing I focused on was Queen Emmanuel, very nice name. I mean, this first paragraph, was just legal jargon. This second one was more important. As an initial matter to protect the investigation integrity, on July 31st, 2024, Queen Emmanuel requested that former employee, Dawson French, Dogpack, cease making public allegations against the company, as those were the topic of an ongoing investigation. And again, as you know, he didn't stop, not even a tiny bit. I'm pretty sure after that, part 3 came out after that. The launchly video, it's not that big, that came out after. And, the most damning one was the work group chat. It wasn't even a work group chat. He made that video with Rosanna. So he broke that cease and desist. So if there's any reason why, I'll go off topic for a second. When I was thinking if, he's gonna be sued, if Dogpack's gonna be sued by MrBeast, the company, I was thinking about it. I'm not sure if they will, because, they'll get no money from it. But then I realized, if he gotta send a cease and desist, then yeah, even if no matter how much money they get from him, if he breaks it, he has to get sued. He broke a contract, or he broke some legal shit. We also requested that current employees refrain from making public comments to ensure that the investigation yielded accurate information and the witnesses were not tainted. The intent was to foster candid interviews and complete cooperation with the investigatory process. Queen Emmanuel conducted 39 interviews of current and former employees. This part was insane. Over 4.5 million documents collected from mobile phones, email, telegrams, Discord, WhatsApp, and Slack were processed and reviewed. The collaboration and cooperation sought at the outset were achieved throughout this process. Queen Emmanuel thoroughly investigated all public allegations and any other that arose during the investigation. Does that mean that he watched the awful videos? oh, that's probably a pain in the ass. I mean, for, you know, like people like me, I watch it with like eating popcorn because it was so funny and dumb. But for him, he must have been like, this is so dumb. But anyways, this second page, it addresses the biggest parts. So like I'm gonna start like right off the bat. The two biggest things that, you know, I think is wrong with this whole drama against MrBeast, you know, like against what Jimmy did wrong, is that, you know, Chris Tyson, he kept her along for a very long time when any other person would have left that, any person would have seen like the behavior they had on Discord with very young people and would have left them, you know. And the second part, he had Delaware in the company without doing a background check as a manager. He hired him as a manager and he didn't realize after some time that he was a registered sex offender. But until then, you know, they fired him. So the first part, as I read it, let me zoom in. Allegations of sexual misconduct, IG, pedophilia, grooming, child pornography. Is this recent? I mean, of course, yeah, it's recent, but you know, like this was made right after the Rosanna video because they mentioned child pornography. Holy, it's that, you know, up to date. But between company employees and minors are without basis, you know, clearly bullshit. The allegations were soundly rejected, including by alleged victims. Yeah, like even Lava, you know, admitted that nothing happened wrong. Like nothing illegal happened. But the common consensus, you know, on the internet was that Chris Tyson, still a very disgusting person, you know, like all that stuff. That definitely should have been like in the company for so long, especially, you know, if they worked. I'm not sure. I don't think they worked, you know, with a lot of kids. But on the off chance, yeah, Chris shouldn't have been in the company. Allegations of the company knowingly employing individuals with proclivities or histories toward legal or questionable legal conduct as similarly without basis. This part is the Delaware part. Here too, the allegations were uniformly rejected. So I'm guessing this part, I mean, yeah, like I said, expected. He hired Delaware without doing a background check, and only then after fired him. I mean, it was the right move to fire him, but I was thinking about as well. If you hire like a basic employee, like a janitor that, you know, does like a part-time job, then yeah, I get, you know, doing a background. I get not doing a background check. But if you hire someone as a manager, like a very huge role, a massive role in the company, then yeah, so a very basic background check should be taken. And when you do a bit of research into a person, I promise you the first thing that will pop up is being, you know, a registered sex offender. Now this third part, in my opinion, is the most vague section. One big part of people were wondering were about the allegations of LaQuoya Hill and James Warren. And for James Warren, you know, like anything that Dogpack said or alleged against him, being an abuser, you know, that yells his wife, I don't believe that part, because the only section about that, the only evidence he has is people hearing rumors about it. So no actual like hardcore evidence. Like even that case he believed to be James Warren was like another person, not even him. And for LaQuoya Hill, similarly, you know, all he had about him that being, you know, a gay rapist that roofied people and sexually harasses his 19-year-old assistant. Again, that part, you know, just based on rumors from other employees. But again, when I hear this part, I'll read it now. Several isolated instances of workplace harassment and misconduct were identified during the investigation. The company was informed of such conduct and took swift and appropriate action to address the incidents, including, when necessary, disciplining or letting go of implicated individuals. So that part, again, I'm not going to say anything about LaQuoya Hill, but if anything was found against them, you know, like harassing employees, sexually, whatever, then that could mean that they fired him. But again, I'm not sure, because Dogpack was trying to like, go for like a home run with LaQuoya Hill, like saying that he's a rapist, you know. So I have no idea if the actual small stuff, like harassing employees, is actually true. If he did better research, you know, and talked more with the employees, the former employees, you could probably find more stuff about that. But again, you know, like LaQuoya Hill being like one of these employees that was disciplined or let go, it's a possibility. But again, with a huge company, when it says individuals, it could be a number of other people that we don't know about, like, you know, just employees. So I'm not sure about that. But I'm not gonna accuse that, you know, one of these was LaQuoya Hill. But again, very vague statement. There's not much to get out of it. I mean, I feel for this part, people would be like, "Oh my god, the whole company is like a Harvey Weinstein company full of freaking weirdos." But again, if a company, like any company, had an investigation to this degree, I'm sure they would find, most basic employees were, being a bit, inappropriate in the workplace, so they just fired them. Again, even without people that were trained properly and had a background check, potentially, even then it'd be like, okay, you're so weirdo, so we're gonna discipline you or just fire you, get out. But this next part, I will admit, it does sound like a very generic, apology from a YouTuber. It's saying like how they're gonna do better in the future. Actually, as you all are well aware, the company has grown exceedingly quickly from a YouTube startup comprised of a group of talented young individuals to a much larger entity. It is now common that policies and practices essential in a mature company would lag behind commercial success. This appears to have been the case here and has, in certain instances, allowed for inappropriate conduct. It is clear the company is committed to remedying historical issues, creating a mature culture where problematic behaviors are not tolerated as it enters this new phase. The company has already implemented or is in the process of implementing changes to ensure a safe and professional corporate culture today and moving forward. These include sending a clear message regarding tone at the top, hiring a new chief executive officer, CEO I guess, chief people officer, general counsel, and soon to be hired a chief financial officer. Implementing a mandatory corporate training for all employees. This part, no matter how explosive the success of MrBeast is as a company, this part, if you're becoming a company, it should be the first part that you make sure when you put up, hiring people ads on like LinkedIn. Developing a new policy codified in an employee handbook, establishing an anonymous reporting mechanism / hotline for all employees, swiftly terminating individuals who violate company policy regardless of their position or level within the company, identifying additional employees for targeted training and executive coaching to address professionalism and compliance within company policy. This officially concludes our investigation. We remain available if you need any follow-ups or have further questions. Very truly yours, Alex Spyro. So again, like I said, in terms of response, it's exactly like this, when a huge YouTuber that, is clearly more of a company than a YouTube channel. I mean, they have a channel, but in terms of like, money and, level of people involved, it's clearly a company. So, when it becomes to that level of being massive, the only response you can make publicly without, any legal trouble would have to be like this, having like a lawyer, make the response, having investigators like read through it. The main issue people had with this is the whole, part about like how the investigators, investigating this whole case, they were brought by MrBeast, the company. So if you even now, people put a fucking a community post, and then there's a conflict of interest from the investigators paid by MrBeast. And I guess that is true, if you have actual investigators, unless they're not from the actual police, actual law, they are, possibly to be like, well, some stuff, we avoided because, we're being paid millions by MrBeast, but everything else, was fine. But like I said, in my mind, there wasn't really like a lot of stuff that, I was wondering about. Like, of course, I knew about Chris Tyson. There's nothing illegal, but they were still disgusting. And the only big section for me was the second part right here in the bullet point, that they actually, any people they hired, that had a criminal past, they had no idea about. And it's more so a fault of them hiring them without doing like a proper background check. And that part makes sense. I think some people were saying like how MrBeast hired Delaware knowing he was a registered sex offender. But again, that makes no sense. Like, I don't believe the MrBeast company is that, malicious. Not malicious, but, is that they give a shit to a degree to not hire a registered sex offender for a company where they might be working around kids or have videos made for kids, I don't think they're gonna fucking do that. And plus, I'm not sure there was ever like a public statement of why Delaware was fired, but if there is, it's clearly because, people in the company found out that he was a registered sex offender, and it's only that. It's not like, he was brought to the company being like, oh, he has a past of, being a sex offender, but ignore that. And a couple of years later, they're like, oh, we fired him because he always shows up late. Like, it's clearly because they found out, about his past, and then, they, like I said, swiftly fired him. The other thing I can criticize about company is that, it felt very weird, like how some parts, they promise, wholeheartedly they're gonna implement, when it really feels like, basic stuff. Like this part right here in the second list, fourth bullet point, developing new policies codified in an employee handbook. I feel like most companies, no matter like what they make, you know, like videos or whatever, they will have basic stuff like, you know, policies. I'm sure they have policies, but you know, some more, you know, clear ones, some more defined ones, and also a handbook, you know, like the kind of stuff where if someone had an issue with other employees, you know, being inappropriate or harassing them, they can go to the HR department, pull out the handbook and be like, look, right here in this section, they're breaking a policy, you know, please do something about it or just fire them, one of those things. And you know, I guess, yeah, they're promising, you know, to make sure like stuff like this, like hiring inappropriate employees doesn't happen again, or hiring sex offenders, you know, will be prevented. But again, you know, I feel like in the first place, a lot of this stuff with Delaware could have avoided if you just spent some time like internally fixing the company or the policies to avoid stuff like this. But in terms of what people are saying about, you know, about the investigators being paid out, I don't really believe that. I mean, yeah, I guess it was paid by them, but you know, as the legal job, you know, they looked up everything and they found nothing wrong with it. A couple of employees had to be addressed, you know, disciplined, but apart from that, nothing else. Again, you know, like with the Chris Tyson stuff, there wasn't a lot you could say other than that, yeah, they fucked up and kept around for quite a while when they shouldn't have. You know, the Delaware part as well. But aside from it, I don't know like what the part that, you know, like they could okay, how about worst case scenario? LaQuia Hill, you know, he fucks everyone in the company, like, you know, he roofs them. I don't believe like they would even hide stuff like that because it's so bad and just, you know, downright illegal that even the company would be like, okay, yeah, we have to face the legal repercussions for this, you know, clearly. So overall, this investigation or the response to it, when I first read it, it did feel like underwhelming. But again, you know, there's not really a lot of stuff, you know, that could be actually be investigated in the company. You know, the manager being a sex offender, you know, like a complete fuck up on their part. But everything else, like, you know, James Warren or LaQuia Hill, they found nothing about them or like anything bad. Or if they did, I mean, I guess, yeah, part right there says, you know, they fired people being inappropriate. I'm not saying that like James Warren or LaQuia Hill is one of those people, but if they found like any other employees being inappropriate, you know, they were disciplined or just fired. So to any people wanting more from, you know, this whole drama, they want to see Jimmy crucified, I'm not defending him, but you know, like, it's right there, like right down response. I don't see why like the company would want to make like a second investigation when they, you know, they spent months on it. You know, it also said reviewing 4.5 million documents, you know, like this whole story. I think it's wrapping up now. Dogpack, he shot himself in the foot like 10 times. Now Jimmy, well, MrBeast, you know, the company, has made a response to it. So I think, you know, like looking forward in the future, the company will be, you know, fixed internally with new policies and stuff like, you know, Chris Tyson, you know, Delaware. If they fucked up, but otherwise, you know, like they're trying to fix it, you know, it just stops there. You can definitely criticize them for it, but if in 3 months people are still crying about like, you know, oh, I want to see another response, I don't like the response, then yeah, you know, I don't know what you're expecting, you know, it's all in here. Like there's no other legal reason for them to like make another one. Like everything they had to address was right here, nothing more. So this story, I mean, I heavily feel like unless Dogpack makes another big story, I will say now, I think the next big story about this, or from this whole drama, is Dawson, Dogpack, getting sued. And if he does, I won't be surprised. He's broken so much shit. It's only expected for him to get a fucking, you know, a lawsuit coming his way. It's so clear.